from I think a lot of people that watch this show, if they're just starting studios, finding a partner to partner with, may or may not have been thinking about an exit strategy, operating agreements, all that other fun stuff.
Yeah.
When Lemonly started, did you have an operating agreement? At what point did you say, when I decide to leave someday, 100 years from now, what am I going to do?
Yeah. I heard on an agency podcast, I remember when I started thinking about selling it was like, you should start 5 years in advance. And I was like,
and you're like, uh-oh.
I don't want to wait 5 years. Yeah. I think I ended up being 2 probably from when I did it. So it does take time. But outside, the only reason we did have the operating agreement is when Scott and I split kind of Nine Clouds and Lemonly. My attorney friend Paul helped us set that up.
Yeah.
But Amy and I never thought of it as like a selling thing. It was just I own 2/3 and you own 1/3. And the only reason that was Scott and Amy and I were a third.
Right.
And I essentially traded my Nine Clouds equity with Scott, and so I became 2/3. And there are probably much better strategic ways to do it than what I did. But I didn't have that outcome in mind. I was surprised how many people locally came up to me and said, I didn't know you could sell a services company or an agency. And I was like,
why not?
You can sell anything if it's of value. I would say my advice would be, don't overthink it. Like, don't let that be the reason you don't start something, right? Because just like you hit on at the beginning, Lemonly was a side hustle, like a random idea, and then look at what it became. And that's really the true kind of rags to riches story. It's just what you can accomplish in a decade, right? We often oversell or overestimate what we can do in a year, but underestimate what we can do in a decade. Yeah. And I will always look back at that as probably the most fun decade of my life, I imagine.